Hello everyone out there in the Lucksack Legion. Alex here with Lucksack Games, here with the League with Oops All Spells. And this one looks like a keeper. So we have Simeon's Spirit Guide, we have Summoner's Pact for Wild Cantor, a couple Dark Rituals, and Undercity Informer to win the game. We do have a Narcomoeba in our hand, but that's not a concern with 3 still in our deck. We're going to go ahead and cast this Once Upon a Time in response here.
Go!
Not what we were looking for at all. So what we were trying to do here is cast that in response to the Urza's Bauble to try and have our opponent put us on a deck that really needed that Once Upon a Time, and therefore hoping to induce a Force of Will. Unfortunately, it does not appear that the opponent's playing a Force of Will deck. It looks like they're playing a deck called Bomberman. Bomberman is a very powerful deck in Legacy that exploits the power of Lion's Eye Diamond and Aurochs Salvagers. So it's unlikely they'll kill us on 1, so it's very likely that we will be able to kill them in kind, as long as they don't Chalice of the Void us. Well then.
Thanks to
That happens sometimes. So they did see the Dark Ritual off of the Urza's Bauble, unfortunately. Wish they had seen Narcomoeba instead. So we went from having a turn 1 kill to having absolutely nothing going on currently. Mind you, we can still beat this. We have 2 mana rituals, and we now have a land we can play in the form of our sorcery. So hopefully, alright, Seed of the Synoid is not what you would expect to find from this deck, because normally you would find the white artifact land. So maybe this isn't the deck I thought it was. Let's find out what the opponent does here. So without a Chalice on 0, the Summoner's Pact still has text. So we're looking at 2 mana currently out of the required 4 to win the game. If we get a permanent source, we can do it with 3 others. Nah, we still need 3 others because the Summoner's Pact will kill us on upkeep. A little unfortunate the opponent had Chalice of the Void on 1. Ironically, this is one of those games where we would be more likely to beat Chalice of the Void on 0. Normally, it is the other way around, so if you're ever playing against this deck, you definitely want a Chalice of the Void on 0. Because it shuts off my initial mana sources. Because imagine for a second that the opponent had gone Chalice of the Void on 1, and we had just played several Lotus Petals, like the opponent is doing right now. A couple Lotus Petals and a Cabal Ritual. Alright, the opponent's playing an Emery, so they're certainly not the deck I thought they were. Alright, so they're... It looks like they're probably that blue painter deck then instead, with these so many ancient tombs and baubles and such. Alright, we're going to just go ahead and go to discard and discard this Dread Return. Does nothing in our hand currently anyways. We're in a pretty rough spot only because of how the texture of our hand shaped up against the opponent's disruption. So we'll see how that goes. Ooh, and there's the follow-up Chalice of the Void on 0. That's definitely not what you want to see. That cuts off a lot of our outs. Okay, Oko's not a big... that's going to be a clock, unfortunately. They should probably just turn their pedal here, so they can create something attacking us sooner. Alright, well there's the pedal, but unfortunately it's after they've already played a Chalice on 1, so that won't be any good. We're going to go ahead and continue discarding Dark Rituals. While this game is starting to look like it's going to be very difficult to win, there is still a chance that we're able to piece this together, so we'll continue playing on. Example, we could draw 2 Simeon Spirit Guides into a Manamorphose for the 3rd. That is not what we were looking for, and now we no longer have outs. Alright, let's go to sideboarding. So here, against our opponent probably isn't going to bring in Leyline, so we're just going to go ahead and play the deck that we had game 1. And this hand looks pretty good. I think this one's going to be a keep. Oh no, it's a mulligan. Alright. This one's strictly a mulligan because it just doesn't have enough to get there. Oh, the last hand only had 3. Sure. So we're looking at this hand. Basically, we're just waiting on our opponent. We already know that our hand is going to be a mulligan. This hand's also probably a mulligan. Even though it has all the mana, it doesn't have the creature. Alright. This is going to be the one. It's a shame we couldn't find this on 5. Then we could have kept the Pact. But on the play, we probably don't need it. We've got a 4-card hand, and it's
Life was
looking
bad,
good.
but now it's good forever.
Dark Ritual, Undercity Informer. Well, that's probably the game right there. I mean, realistically, opponent still has 5 cards in hand. Obviously, it would have been a little bit better if they had been Bomberman, or if we'd been able to keep that Pact of Negation. If we could have kept Pact of Negation, we would have found ourselves up in a position where we can beat single Force of Will. That being said, sometimes the opponent's deck runs a Days Undoing, or not Days Undoing, Echo of Aeons. Woohoo! Best draw on the deck. Narcomoebas. If our opponent kept their entire hand, they did not. That's an Emery. Hey look, there's the Echo I was talking about. So like if they Echo us here and whiff, we might have another chance of going. Again, Chalice on 1, less damaging after both of our Dark Rituals are already in the graveyard. Opponent bobbles us, gets to know what we draw before we do. We've already cast spells, so we cannot cast once upon a time. We're going to go ahead and wrap this one up. Alright, so we're taking a loss round 1. Let's see how we can do in game 2. Well, isn't this hand just the nuts? Isn't this hand just the nuts? We get to be on the play. Lotus Petal, Manamorphose, Spy, Undercity Informer. So, with this hand, you actually don't want a Manamorphose. Here's why. You could draw Thassa's Oracle. And while you can Cabal Therapy yourself, you'd prefer to have the option to get the information from your opponent. So there's no reason not just to play out Spy here. Cool. All of our amoeba triggers. Looks like we're going to get to combo. Is this Scoop Lag, or is this... No, that's not Scoop Lag. Yes, it is Scoop Lag. Ah, got me, opponent. You got me. So the opponent's obviously a little familiar with what we're doing, so we're going to go ahead and bring in our sideboard plan. Since we don't know what the opponent's playing, it's a good chance that they're playing some amount of interaction. So we're going to go ahead and take out these 15 and bring in these 15. So the post-sideboard plan, we didn't get to really see it in last game, is to bring in Leylines of the Void. Leylines of the Void plus Helm of Obedience will completely mill out your opponent's deck. Additionally, this helps if your opponent is bringing in Rest in Peace against you, because Rest in Peace on your opponent's side of the battlefield plus Helm of Obedience is a combo still. So we have 2 extra cards here because we still have the Undercity Informers. We need to take 2 more of those out, and we'll call that ready for the next game. The reason why you keep in 2 Undercity Informers is they still combo with your 1 of Thassa's Oracle. You can put your Thassa's Oracle trigger on the stack and then mill your deck with Undercity Spy. Alright, let's see what we get here for game 2. Post-board games are always much harder with this deck because not only do you have to mulligan more aggressively for a combo, while you can try and find Helm of Obedience, you pretty much have to have Leyline of the Void in your opening hand. So, unfortunately, we got this one backwards. We do have Double Pact, which is a little redundant. A lot of mana, but no black starter, so this one's a pretty easy one to throw back. This one's great. This one's Helm, a whole bunch of mana. Let's go ahead and throw back the redundant Chrome Mox and throw this Leyline into play. Alright, so I'm thinking Grixis or Reanimator. It's looking kind of like Reanimator right now. It could still be either. Opponent's still trying to decide what they want to take out of our hand. There's a couple choices they can make here. The one I would take personally is I would take a Helm of Obedience. The opponent chose to take the Lotus Petal to try and cut us off of our starting mana. We draw a second Helm of Obedience. So with my line we would have been rewarded. With their line, we were punished. So we're going to go ahead and put the Summoner's Pact under our Mox to try and dodge another discard spell. We do need to have some amount of starting mana if we want to get Helm of Obedience started. Another discard spell. Alright. Into an Arid Mesa. Interestingly enough, Inquisition couldn't have taken Helm anyway, so they must be planning on just keeping us off our lands. Faithless Looting's pretty good out of the opponent. It'll help fix their draw, but unfortunately for them, this Leyline of the Void is going to mess with them a little bit. Ox. Ox is not something I expected. So this is like Mardu graveyard shenanigans. Spirit Guide's pretty good here. Lingering Souls isn't that threatening. They do have a 10-turn clock on the board now. Cabal Ritual's a great draw, so that puts us up to 3 sources. If we find the black starter, that'll be our 4th, and we can get Helm into play. If we can get Helm into play, then Chrome Mox is enough to activate Helm. So if we can get it into play, we can just wait a turn and activate. Assuming opponent doesn't have interaction, of course. Ooh, opponent doubling their clock by adding more spirits to the board. Okay. These Lingering Souls obviously being 1 uses at the moment. Well, we now have all the mana we need to do it in 1 turn. We just need a black starter. So there's a lot of things we can draw here for a black starter, up to and including the Chrome Mox that we mulliganed originally. Because Chrome Mox on Cabal Ritual will give us enough. We draw into a Rite of Flame. Alright, so that's giving us close from another angle. So now we're up to 3 from the red angle without using a single black mana. So all we need is 1 more red source, whether that be another Rite of Flame. Actually, it can be any mana source, really. So it can even be an Elvish Spirit Guide. We're down to 10. Cabal Therapy, not the ideal draw there. We still have at least 2 more turns, though, assuming the opponent does not have a Bolt. Which, there is 1 in their graveyard, so we'll see. Opponent only has 1 card in hand. So Inquisition's not ideal. If it takes a Simian Spirit Guide, we can't cast Rite of Flame. But if we find a black starter, we still win. So, come on, show me Lotus Petal. Lowest pedal would be the best in this situation, or the land. The bolt land is a little bit rougher because, well, they only have one card in hand, so if they attack me for 4 here, the bolt land doesn't work if they have a lightning bolt. But I think we can't play around that, especially in our current situation, so let's see what we draw. Another Rite of Flame. Alright, so we're just hoping to dodge here for a turn. One more turn of dodge. Hopefully our next draw step gets us there. Opponent has 2 cards in hand. See what they go for here. Alright, well this is good news. Attacking us down to 2. That's fine. Alright, still in damage. This is going to be a bolt, finishing us off. And then we'll go to game 3 on the play. Ooh, surgical. Alright, this is almost certainly a surgical for information, but I think I want them to have this information. So I'm going to let them do the surgical to go through my deck to see that I'm no longer on spy combo. So that game 3, hopefully they'll take out surgicals and we can board into spy combo. So I'm going to let them surgical me and then, oh, they had the bolt anyway. Sure. So now, game 3, we're going to go back to being spy. Because the opponent got to see our deck and saw we had 0 spy things in it, it should be good enough to get there. Alright, back to being spy. Let's go. I think we still want these packs just on the off chance that they keep in surgical, but I can't see a world in which they keep in surgical after we show them that we don't have any spy stuff left in our deck. I mean, if they saw that we were planning on going goblins and helm, there's no reason that they should have surgical still in their deck. It's why I let them surgical me instead of conceding in response to hide it. I want them to think that surgical is bad. So let's play first. So if it hits, it's okay, but this is a mulligan. This one, 1, 2, 3. This one's also a mulligan, but we have to wait for our opponent to give us the turn back. Yeah, it's a shame. Our opponent's still going to have discard no matter what they think our deck is. So we do want to try and go on 1 if we can. So let's take another mulligan here. Alright, well this is like the other ones where we have to hope that Once Upon a Time hits, but I think we can keep this one. Let's keep. And let's send back a Chrome Mox and a redundant Once Upon a Time, I guess. And see where we go. Yep. So we're going to lead on this Once Upon a Time, hoping to find our creature. And if we find it, we're just going to put it into play. And then pass the turn. While they could have Lightning Bolt, obviously they have it to finish us off. It's likely they don't have the maximum number.
But now it's good forever.
And they have to have it here on turn 1. They have to have a bolt in hand right now. If not, we win the game. Ooh, I love this.
Oh no!
Okay, well that's not the lightning bolt I was scared off of. Basic mountain. Okay, so thankfully it looks like we're gonna win the game. Sweet. Alright, so we're gonna activate Undercity Informer. Not during our upkeep or we lose the game due to not being able to draw. Boom. Undercity Informer.
Life was bad, but now it's good forever.
Get our triggers. Let's go ahead and get these Narcomoebas back on the battlefield. You know what's sad is if you try and always yield, they still make you say yes to each one. It's like I understand what Narcomoeba does, you know. Alright, so let's therapy them just to see how they sideboarded. If they have surgical, this is the last opportunity to use it. I don't like this long pause, though. Why are you pausing, opponent? Shouldn't you be auto-yielding? And what you got, opponent? Let's find out what you have. Show me all your secrets. My fuzz. What you got? I need to know what you have. What's in your hand? What do you have? Oh no.
I'm in danger.
Oh no. Uh-oh. Ah, they had the surgical and they knew to wait. That was well played. Alright, we fall to 0-2. Let's get started on our next match. Round 3 here with Oops All Spells. And this hand is insane if it hits. I think this is a keep. This is one of those where you'll take the risk on Once Upon a Time because you get to do it with Pact of Negation backup. And that's just a good place to be. That means that you beat a singleton Force of Will. It's 2 Force of Wills that you have to beat. Alright, so we missed. It's not the end of the world, though. We can just play the Crypt, a Petal, and pass. And that will give us another shot at this Once Upon a Time to try and hit. So we just take 3, play a Petal, pass the turn. We still have access to 4, even with this. Because whatever we draw for turn, we can put under the Mox. Or it'll be an artifact, which means unless it's another Mox, it'll make mana for us. Let's see what the opponent does. Could be literally anything at the moment. Legacy is actually more of a wide open format than people give it credit for. Like, the deck I'm playing currently is generally considered very bad, and it kind of is, but it's tons of fun. It's fun to be the bad guy. Alright, Mox Opal start. Lotus Petal. Are we playing against some sort of mirror match here? That would be hilarious. That would have me laughing. Alright, that's an Ancient Tomb, so it's probably more likely Bomberman again. Or that deck that was like Bomberman that we played against earlier. It could also be that.
I'm in danger.
Thanks to denial.
Opponents.
I'm immortal.
Opponents, why you gotta keep doing this to me? Alright, so currently our hand doesn't care about that. A Vault Scourge. Alright, hello Affinity opponent. Yep. I see you can't play your Mox Opals anymore in Modern, so you're instead playing them in Legacy. 2 Vault Scourges isn't that scary of a clock. Let's go ahead and Once Upon a Time. Oh, so you don't even want to take this one, you want to leave it back on the library. Spy. Alright. That one's dead due to the Chalice, so we're probably putting that one under Chrome Mox. Steel Overseer, that's going to make those things into a little bit more of a threat, that's for sure. Alright, so we can Manamorphose here if we want to Chrome Mox the Simian Spirit Guide, but I don't know if that's the right option. We can also Chrome Mox the Pact, since they probably don't have... Oh yeah, I guess... Yeah. Dark Ritual's dead because of the Chalice, that's fine. Alright, so here we can Cabal Ritual. Wait, do we want a Cabal Ritual? Huh. I only see 3. Maybe I'm miscounting. No, I guess we have to wait until Chrome Mox untaps. Let's pass the turn.
Not a good punt. This is a terrible punt by the rookie. It goes out.
Alright. Wait, no. We did have 4, right? 2 floating. Plus the black is 3. Rituals plus 1 is 4. Oh my god, I just threw it. Alright. We can't cast Manamorphose. We just need 1 mana of any type and to dodge probably a lot from the opponent. Which we probably just stopped dodging since they're 6 mana. What's this? What is this? Stone Coil. Okay, well, at least it's not a Ballista, so we got that going for us. Down to 5. We're dead on board. We draw... Oh, Elvish Spirit Guide. Good. Alright, so again, we don't want to Manamorphose. We just want to cast our rituals and cast our spy. Whoa. Kind of sacked our way back out of that, didn't we? After we punted away. Whew. Whew. Alright, so the opponent almost certainly, from my knowledge, last time I played against Affinity, and mind you, it's been years, they were on ley lines. The reason why is because they are kind of a dump your whole hand style of deck. That sometimes color requirements are difficult for them. So they're either going to be on surgicals or ley lines. I'm betting ley lines, though. So let's see what we can do. Alright, so... It's hard to think I want these packs. Maybe I can go half and half here. And just have the option of 1 spy? Nah, that's terrible. That's a terrible idea. I'll take these Once Upon a Times, I guess, because literally packs seem dead. And just split it on Undercity Informers for the possible combo with Thassa's Oracle. Alright, let's see. Opponent's going to play first. Affinity always does. And this hand looks fine if it hits. If this... We'd have to gamble on that Once Upon a Time, though. And last time it didn't. Alright, let's mulligan. Mulligan again. We're post-board, so that first hand's actually trash. This hand's fine because it has a Leyline of the Void. We're literally all in on finding Helm of Obedience, though. Oh, look, the opponent's flexing on us. Opponent's like, yeah. Opponent's like, look, I have double Leyline of the Void. Ooh, that one hurts really bad when we kept double Rite of Flame in our hand. So, mind you, we do have 2 of the 4 required mana to get a Helm down, so that's pretty good. That's really bad for us, especially since it's usually our 1 mana rituals that allow us to get around Chalice, or Cabal Ritual with Threshold, which we will not achieve with a Leyline in play. Again, 1 mana rituals are not ideal here. Spending Spirit Guides for permanent sources might seem a little counterintuitive because it's spending 1 for 1. But if we draw any, that's exactly what we'll do, because those permanent sources can help us cast future permanent sources. It's basically investing a guide now to be able to spend 1 mana forever. Their clock is slow though, so there's a chance we can draw out of this. They're all out of cards in hand. We're not going to draw out of it by continuing to draw 1 mana rituals though, unfortunately. If it wasn't for this Chalice, these rituals would be fine, but we'd still need to find Helm of Obedience to actually win the game. Okay, opponent's getting in at us, and we draw. Petal's good-ish. I'm going to go ahead and spend a guide here to get it on the board, just to avoid future thorns, I guess. It's not the best, but it also allows me to trade a green for a black mana, which is good because Cabal rituals are currently the only rituals we even have a chance of casting. Well, that's not ideal because that's going to start clocking us a lot faster than a couple of Vault Scourges, especially when the first counter it gets is making it bigger. Okay. We drew an Elvish Spirit Guide, so that puts us up to 3 mana. Currently, Cabal rituals generate as much as they cost, so they're not making us anything. If it wasn't for this Thorn or Chalice, we'd be ahead, but them having both definitely has locked us out. Pact isn't going to get us anywhere, so let's see. I think we get one more draw step. If we draw Helm, we can Pact for an Elvish Spirit Guide, Simian Spirit Guide, and put Helm into play, but we will not. Oh no, they just have Cranial Plating. We're just dead. We are just dead. Dead, 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 dead. Alright, game 3, they had double Leyline of the Void, so I'm pretty sure that we should stick with our current plan and not board again. This one's interesting, but a mole. This one looks like it's going to be a mulligan again, because even though we have double Helm, we have no Leyline. And again, that's the downside of this particular sideboard plan, is you basically have to mull 2 Leyline of the Void. Huh. This is a non-Leyline of the Void hand that I think we can keep. So I think the plan here is just basically see if we can cast a turn 1 Undercity Informer. I guess it'll have to be minimum turn 2 because we have to draw black. Oh no, they hit the I win button.
Challenge accepted. No.
They had an I win button. How are we supposed to beat them if they have an I win button? So we're looking to dodge Thorns, Chalices, a lot of the opponent's deck, really. An aggro side of them with a single Leyline is a good keep out of them, but also fine for us to be able to try and race. Alright, well that's interesting. Second Manamorphose is a thing, but nothing helping us yet. We need either a black starter or just a second source of mana, because these Manamorphose will indeed be the second source of mana if we get it. So let's see what we get here. Sorry about that ring. We draw into... Oh, there's our black starter right there. That's why being able to play lands in the landless deck is kind of insane, even if it costs you 3 life. So we're going to go ahead and Ritual, and we're just going to play out Undercity Informer here. This makes it weak to a Walking Ballista, but if we, by setting it up this way, we put ourselves in a position we should be able to get to cantrip into a 3rd mana source, and then we can Undercity Informer plus Thassa's Oracle for the win through Leyline of the Void. So their last card in hand has to not be a piece of disruption. Let's find out what they have. They're tanking. Tanking is usually a good sign of your opponent, because that means if they don't have it, alright, there's Activating Steel Overseer. Nothing. We're not blocking. They currently look like they have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 maximum damage if they sacrifice literally everything, including their tapped Steel Overseer. So that'll put us down to 2, but that's 2's not lethal. And by sacking that Mox Opal, they no longer can Galvanic Blast us, so that's pretty sweet. That's pretty sweet. Alright, opponent went all in. Any mana source, right now. Alright, that's not. But that means that Chrome Mox will allow us to draw 1 additional, because we can put the once under the Chrome Mox. So it basically bought us a draw, even if it's not the mana source we were looking for. So we're going to Manamorphose probably here into... We can't go blue-blue with the first one until we find another mana source, so probably red-black. Black-green is also fine, but red-black is the best. Hit the Simian Spirit Guide. That's the game right there, folks. So we use the Simian Spirit Guide. We Manamorphose into double blue. We can't use the Undercity Informer first. We have to Manamorphose first or we lose the game. Due to being unable to draw a card, make blue blue. Did we just win through a ley line of the void? That is so sick. Alright, so that's our first win through ley line both games. Alright, here we are for round 4. This is our opponent, Tilt On. Tilt on, tilt on,
Alright.
tilt on till your dream come true. Alright, so this hand's absolutely nuts and an easy keep. If we were on the play, we'd kill them on, well, before they even got a first turn. But since we're on the draw, we get to see what they're doing first. Uh-oh.
I'm in
Well
danger.
then. That's not ideal. Yep. Looks like we're getting turn 1 Gristle branded. We won't concede unless we get hit by a discard spell. Because if opponent can easily just draw a whole bunch and then pass the turn, discarding like a couple Chancellors if they don't hit another mana source. They hit the Unmask. Unfortunate. We'll go ahead and scoop it up. Which would allow us to just kill them on our turn. So we're going to go ahead and bring in just the ley lines of the voids. We don't want the rest of the package because they don't know what we're on. And basically any deck will concede to a Gristlebrand on turn 1 plus a discard spell. So we're just going to go ahead and swap out these packs of negations because it's unlikely the opponent will have surgical extractions, not knowing what we're on, because they'll be too busy trying to counter hate what they think we're bringing in. I'm debating taking out this Cabal Therapy, but I don't think it's necessary. I think we have to have this Cabal Therapy. If we end up having Thassa's Oracle in hand, then we just lose the game if we don't. Alright, so anyone else's... Alright, play first. This hand has a ley line of the void, but not much else going on. We're going to go ahead and mulligan this. This hand kills on turn 1. We're going to go ahead and keep this one. Ritual is amazing because it's +2. So Pact gets us a black starter. Then we go Ritual, and we're able to just cast Spy right then and there. So let's see how this goes. We can also Pact for double Elvish Spirit Guide and Manamorphose. That is the worst option, though. Worst option, not worst. Worst option, because by Pacting and then Manamorphosing, you put yourself in a position where you may draw a Narcomoeba. And while that doesn't matter as much with Ballstraight Spy, it can matter a lot. Alright, so we just hit the guide off of the Once Upon a Time. Should just grab the Wild Cantor here, yep. Not sure why I cast the second Pact anyways. Oh, because I got rid of the Cabal Ritual. Yeah. Why did I get rid of the Cabal Ritual? I didn't need to. Oh well. Same thing I've been saying every time. Don't cast unnecessary Manamorphose. And this is where we kill our opponent if they don't have Surgical. Please don't have Surgical, opponent. Please don't have Surgical. I'll be your friend. We're friends, right, opponent? The best. So we'll go ahead and bring back these Narcomoebas and try and win the game. So what we do here is we'll Dread Return a Thassa's Oracle and use it to win the game because we'll have no cards left in our deck. What I'm going to start with though is a Cabal Therapy because I want to take a peek at their hand and I want to see if we can get a little bit of a hint of what they sideboarded. So most opponents concede in response to the therapy. Let's see if the opponent does the same. We will name Surgical, but it's, yeah. Opponent just concedes in response. That's very, very commonplace. So now I want the Helm combo. Now I want to try and mill my opponent out with Helm. So this is going to be kind of an awkward game. Hopefully we have Leyline early, but we have to mulligan to Leyline no matter what. I say no matter what, but if I have a 7 that kills with the Undercity and former 1 of Thassa's Oracle, but that's unlikely. So let's go ahead and take them all. This hand would be amazing if we still had Narcomoebas in our deck and knew our opponent didn't have Surgical Extraction. We'll go ahead and take a mulligan again now. Again, another amazing hand, we have to mulligan. Another amazing hand, we have to mulligan. It's starting to feel like maybe we should have just kept these Pact of Negations in. Because if we had just kept Pact of Negations in and the combo, then, yeah, as long as they don't go on 1, we kind of win. Additionally, the lower we go, the more threatening Chancellor of the Annex becomes. Sometimes these decks just go on the backdoor plan of not always getting Gristlebrand, but getting Chancellor of the Annex instead, which is good enough. Chancellor of the Annex would probably be good enough to win. But our opponent is still debating their options. Maybe they're trying to decide if something like an Elishnorn is good enough. We have no option, though. We have to mulligan. So, let's see. Opponent. May I please make my decision, Tilton? To be fair, when I played Reanimator, I often multi-queued because it was very easy to play multiple queues with Reanimator. So, would not surprise me if the opponent was doing the same. Alright. Well, it looks like we're on a mold of 3, and we're going to keep a hand with Leyline of the Void, which is effectively going to put us down to 2. This is our hand. So we have a permanent source, which is amazing. And we'll have a... Sorry about the ambulance going by. We'll have a Manamorphose if we hit a second mana source. But we won't fire it off until we can hit 4. Undercity Informer, not that excellent here. It can go under a Mox or something, but not what we're looking to do right now. Alright, so the opponent's just on Petal Pass. What that likely means from my experience is the opponent kept a hand of something along the lines of Lotus Petal, Dark Ritual, and Tomb Reanimate, or Exhume, and it was an excellent hand to keep on the play, but doesn't do that much against the Leyline of the Void. Alright, so the opponent took the Undercity Informer, which leads me to believe that they didn't have the Surgical. Which makes me a little bit sad that game 3, I didn't just try to bring in ley lines and go with the normal combo. We're going to name Faithless Looting here. The reason why is that's the card that draws them the most likely out of this into their removal or whatever it may be for this ley line. Oh dear God, they have a silence. So they're missing a forest. Luckily their draw was basic swamp. So if they ever hit a forest, they take away this ley line and be able to entomb a Gristlebrand. Not exactly ideal. Alright, good. They're just passing. So they missed count 1. Alright, so good old Thoughtseize bug. We got Thoughtseize for an Undercity Informer. Here's another one. I believe we only have 2 in the deck currently. So here's the other one. Alright, opponent's going to unmask us. Take away Undercity Informer again. Understandable that they're fearing the combo, because they don't know that our deck doesn't have it. So they're seeing these Undercity Informers and going, we caught him just in time. Cantor's uncastable. That's fine now. We're getting closer to the point where we're hitting 4 mana, which will put us in a position where we can cast Helm. If we can get Helm in play, we have 2 permanent mana sources to activate it, and it looks... We do have to hope to dodge Reverent Silence. We'll never get got by Reverent Silence, because the opponent will always have to cast it at sorcery speed, so we'll never activate our Helm and then get got, so to say. But, yeah, we're kind of all in on drawing a Helm here. Alright, well that unlocks our whole hand. We now have 5. Do we go for it? I think we go for it. Because even if we miss, we can just play this Wild Cantor to store up this Rite of Flame mana. Let's see if we hit. Red? Usually it's red-black. I think we should go red-green this time, though. Ooh, we hit the Helm. Alright, so now I think I just go Rite of Flame and just put Helm into play. Yeah. So, jam Helm of Obedience. You have exactly 1 turn, opponent. We know their hand, parts of their hand. We know it's
Life was
Reverent
bad,
Silence.
but now it's good forever.
They have 2 low spells. They don't have any reanimation effect. They have an Entomb, but they didn't use it. They probably should have Entombed at my end step just to get a card out of their deck that's bad. But that's just min-maxing Reanimator, which is kind of silly at times, but it is how you win more consistently with the deck. It's just something along the lines of just Entombing a Gristlebrand there. Removes it from your deck as a possible draw. So... Alright, the opponent drew something here. Let's find out what they're casting for 1 black. Maybe their Thoughtseize. Ah, they reanimated us. Oh god, they killed us. Okay, so they're going to spy us. Which will mean that we mill our entire deck since we don't have any lands in it. During my upkeep, I'm going to mill them too. So this game's going to end with both of us having no cards in our library. But yes, we died. Very well played by the opponent, though. I don't think they read that we didn't have Narcomoebas. I think that they just were put in a position where they had to have it with Helm. It's a shame that we didn't have something like a Blightsteel Colossus or something that shuffled back in. That would win us the game. So we're going to mill their deck. And then we're going to lose the game due to not being due to being unable to draw a card during our draw step. So let's concede it up. Well played, opponent. 1-3. What an interesting line to win that one. So here we are for round 5, the last one, against Lord Muffin. So here we're looking at a hand that kills on 1, so we're going to go ahead and try and do that. 4 Lotus Petals. That's like a full house or something. It's 4 of a kind for those of you that don't play poker. It's a very good poker hand. We are going to go ahead and cast this ritual here. Play out this Undercity Informer, because if they have a Force of Will, we want to find out now. If this resolves, does it resolve? What we have is, we're waiting, and waiting, and waiting. This is scary because that usually, oh, it resolved. Woohoo! Alright. Lotus Petal, let's crack this thing. Sack it to its own ability, and mill our entire deck. Show them that we do indeed have the necessary tools to win the game. Curious if this is concession lag or not. It's always hard to tell. The reason why is if you hit OK and then concede, it still wants you to view the cards, and not everyone knows that. Alright, it was concession lag. Let's start sideboarding. So, our opponent knows what we're doing, so we're bringing our sideboard package. Pretty simple. In these, out these, not Oracle. Alright, let's send it back. We're going to keep these packs because we don't know if they're a blue deck or not yet. They're less likely to be a blue deck because they didn't interact with us game one, but that doesn't make it an impossible situation. This time would be so good with a ley line. Alright, this is it. Let's get rid of this Empty the Warrens, and this is our hand. They are a blue deck. Alright. Depending what blue deck, depends if the sleigh line's going to be any good. Like if this is Storm, which it could still very likely be off Ponder off of Volcanic, although it's more likely to be an Underground Sea. There's a reason for Volcanic too. Did I put this Oracle under this Mox? I don't think we're left with much of a choice, are we? Alright, let's go for the Manamorphose. We can see if we can get Helm into play. Ideally, the opponent just dazes or forces right here. Yeah, the opponent does not. Alright, cool. Now we have Daze protection. Let's see if the opponent has Force or if the opponent has Daze.
It's a trap!
You sprung my trap, opponent. I reveal my trap card, Simeon's Spirit Guide. Is that it? Is that game 2? Or are we just going to win with our sideboard plan? Alright, so the opponent could have Chain of Vapor here. But I don't think... I've seen Days Out of Storm before. I just don't think they have Chain of Vapor. Even though they're waiting here, I'm just going to helm them. And? Alright, well, they're milled. They no longer have a deck. Now let's pass the turn. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. See you next time. Peace.